$1 million Mandy Rose. Mandy Rose came out today and said since she's left WWE, she's made a cool $1 million, showing off her assets. I think it's safe to say we've seen the last bump in the ring from Mandy Rose. Eshawn, my question to you is, how much of that $1 million has come from your big account, sir? My man, he's starting early. He's starting already. On mute.
It's so
already.
Much.
He's like, man, I gotta mute up.
Yeah,
I spent so much money. I gotta mute up. I cannot tell nobody that more than half of that came from the contribution.
I thought I had this mute button under control, but maybe the mute button protects me in these kind of moments, right? But unfortunately, I have, as a fan of Mandy Rose, I have not contributed anything to her new business adventure. But I will say this though, man. Yeah, she's never coming back.
She ain't never coming back.
She's never coming back. She's making too much money. She's showing too much booty. She is giving these fans exactly what they want.
And I feel like for her, do what you gotta do. I ain't gonna say do what you gotta do, but do what you do. $1 million and you ain't gotta travel.
Hey, but you know what side talk though? Because I wouldn't have, these are the conversations that Matt likes to talk about on these podcasts that I never personally would do, right? These are just side conversations I would have with him and some of our other friends. But I was going to text these guys. Is our friend.
We all family who listen to the TFW pod. So we
I got children. They can't know I'd be looking at Mandy Rose. Look, but you think about it, man. She's making. Hey, listen, man. I don't know what to be. Hey, my mama listened to this podcast.
Hey, shout out to Mama E.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, I've been listening to the podcast over OT at noon every Wednesday. But you think about something, right? So, like, she's making $1 million, right? Especially with the women, women's wrestling is kind of somewhat sexualized a little bit, right? These women are kind of wearing very revealing clothing, things of that nature, and a lot of men are watching. Man, if you think about some of these women who are putting their bodies through the grind, if they were to stop and open a OnlyFans, I'm sure they probably could just make millions of dollars, right? Like it's like probably a lot of women that can just stop what they're doing, open an account up, show a little cheek, and make millions of dollars.
One of the ones we talked about last week, Lacey Evans. She is a walking bank, I'm sure, if she wanted to do that. I don't know if she wants to do that or not. And I guess, depending on how you look at it, some people may look at that as disgraceful or not having morals. Like, I think we're past that in this age right now. I can
here's the thing, though.
You would not want to do it.
Because Toni Storm has one, right? And she's not, and even Mandy Rose to us, they're not like doing porn, quote unquote, right? They're just lingerie, underwear, things of that nature, stuff they're already kind of posting. And people are willing to pay.
Mandy Rose?
Yeah.
We've seen way more of Mandy Rose.
Y'all saw
you and I
asshole.
both. There you go. I was about to say, we know what color all her body parts are. So that is way more than lingerie, man. She's
showing a little something. But like Toni Storm, for instance, right? She's making some good coin on the side, right? And she's not necessarily showing everything, right? It's just interesting. I wish I can, get a little bit of fame and get me a Big Daddy Only fan, right?
You can do it right now, man. You can do it right now. Too bad that this isn't episode 69. That would be like a perfect segue.
Ooh,
but it's not.
We should come back to that.
We got 10 more to get to. So maybe what we'll do is...
That'd be like our really freaky episode.
There you go. Episode 69. Send in already the sex topics y'all want us to talk about. And it'll just be, that's freaking. We would take the rest of it off.
Like
you know what I'm saying? Maybe we'll even switch to that's fucking on that one.
Oh, shit.
Hey, there we go. Oh, whoa, he done.
We can do that.
Hey,
put the kids to bed.
Hey, one of our friends just said we should expand the That's Freaking Network. And that could be part of it, right?
You guys know it is us, Triple Threat, 3 the Hard Way. I am your host, Matt, joined by my co-hosts, Eshawn and Rhodesia. She is now locked and loaded. She wasn't ready for us to start the pod. And I'm like, you know what? Let's go ahead and start and talk about some man.
Every single time she decides to leave.
Yep.
He starts
to talk about something like that. Yep. So, Rhodesia, from a women's perspective, thoughts on Mandy making $1 million and probably never seeing her in a wrestling ring again?
If that's what she wants to do, go for it. Get that bag. when y'all mentioned, she's never going to take a bump again, there could still be just something inside of her that she wants to wrestle. So if there's still a passion there to wrestle, I absolutely can see her coming back to wrestling. Do I think it's worth it? No, not financially, but we know that people come back to wrestling not for the financial reasons. So go get your money. If you're comfortable in your skin and you want to show all that, go right ahead. I don't know if I could, but I also don't have $1 million, so I probably need to rethink some things myself. But
come on,
I got a lot of work to do.
I've been telling you, come on now, don't get me started. Maybe we will wait for episode 69 for that discussion. I've been telling you since day one, man, gold mine right there. But you don't want to do it, whatever.
Well,
you don't
I
have
a professional career. I want to make sure that I run for president.
So does Mandy Rose. MandySacks.com, I think is what it is.
Touche.
She is killing it.
But she looks fantastic. So again, she is putting in so much work to make her body look good. So it's not just getting a money grab for her. She's still putting effort and work into it. Go ahead. I saw a picture of her. I was like, okay, I see you. I see what you're working with.
We'll get off of women's bodies here in a moment, but I do want to shout out Cora Jade. Has been in the lab recently.
Oh, man.
She just put a picture up yesterday. Got a lot of hoopla on the internets. If you haven't seen it, it's on her IG and her Twitter. She's got some work done. So good for her. Hopefully she's happy with it. She looks great. She is main roster ready.
But see, that's what okay, so one thing I will say about plastic surgery.
He said main roster ready.
Yeah. Plastic surgery, everybody has their own feelings toward it, and I'm not gonna come here and tell you should do it or not should do it. I just always felt when it comes to a woman, because that's what it's really known for. I know men get work done too, but for women, just make sure you're getting it for the right reasons and you're getting it for you, not for what somebody else is thinking of you or how you look to someone else or how you compare to somebody else. If you thought to yourself, hey, I want my boobs to get bigger or I want to get a BBL because I don't have some kids, but I want to get snatched right back, and that's something you want for yourself, go right ahead and go do it. But that was kind of messed up that you just said, Matt, about she's main roster ready.
That's cool.
She's
been main roster ready, but she's really main roster ready now.
But that's changed, and that's what I love about the evolution of women's wrestling. Before in 1990s and when I started watching wrestling in late 99, that's all you saw. Like, you could not be on TV without a boob job. You couldn't, but now it's okay because right now you're telling your skill is shining through, not necessarily just your body. And that's the one thing I absolutely love about just wrestling in general. We see it a lot too in AEW. You get a lot of different body shapes in AEW.
Hey, last thing before we leave off Mandy Rose. I remember I met her 2015 at Wrestle Fan SS. She popped up at one of the panels. I was trying to meet somebody else and she popped up. I had no idea who she was, and she was skinny. She was skinny as real. I remember asking her, I said, hey, I don't want to be mean or anything, but hey, you work here?
Damn.
And you knew that on purpose? I mean, you knew that?
No, to be honest with you, I didn't ask her just that way, but I inquired like, hey, what show do you work on? Because I didn't know who she was.
Oh, you didn't know who she was. Okay, got it.
I didn't.
Like, hey, who are you?
Yeah, I was like, hey, what show are you on? What show are you working?
Fast forward 8 years. My girl Mandy is doing it big. Rhodesia, before we get into the meat and potatoes of this podcast, you got any more public service announcements you would like to give everyone listening?
And we need to make sure that we feed our children. There's just too many children in the United States that go to bed
I was joking.
every night
I was joking.
without food, and that is something that we need to be spending our energy on. We got it. And then the homeless population, and don't let me get started on the veterans who is homeless.
We got it.
Okay.
Hey guys, thank you for listening and being with us as always. Shout out to all of you guys. You guys know we love all of our supporters, day ones. If you just got on board, hop on for the wild ride. Check us out on all of our socials. We just started our Instagram, same as our Twitter. So that's F&W. We are on YouTube at That's Freakin Wrestling. And as always, if you are not subscribed, if you're not following the pod, hit that follow button and then give us some more of those ratings. I don't know what they say it helps the algorithm, right? I don't know for sure, but it looks good when we can go on and see more ratings and comments. We haven't had a comment, at least on the Apple side, since like December, January. Guys, we see the numbers. We know you are listening. Hit us up. Even if you want to say you guys suck. Go ahead and just put a comment down. We'd appreciate that. All right. But interact with us. We definitely appreciate each and every single one of you. Let's get right into it. I guess you guys want to start with Raw, Monday Night Raw from this past week.
Sure.
What y'all got? I don't have much.
We got the return of KO back in action. He's about that action.
We did.
Mm-hmm.
Huge pop. Him and Sammy to start the show. Damn it, you ever had a cuticle and then you pull it and you pull it way more than you thought?
You don't pull it. That's
yeah, that just happened and I am bleeding right now.
Nice.
Oh, that's gonna sting when you wash your hands for the next day and a half.
Let me bite it off. All right, I just bit it off.
Oh my gosh.
Damn, that hurt. Yes, KO's back. They main evented the show, and I'll be honest, I didn't care about the main event.
I really didn't either. We could just jump right to it. But they were at home. So, I mean, for the people that was there, it was probably amazing. They started off the show and they ended the show. Again, it just wasn't there for me either. I don't know why either. Yeah, I mean, it was your stereotypical fun main event, right? It felt like a house show type of main event. Send the folks home happy. I just didn't care much. I wasn't invested. And I think it could just be a little bit of Judgment Day fatigue. No, I know what it was. To me, I think it probably has something to do with Judgment Day, but because it originally started off as a one-on-one match, right?
My fingers really bleeding.
And
then
tag. It was a tag, but then it turned into a trios match.
Yeah.
And then I think that's probably where I was like, okay, I just saw this tag team match. I don't really want to see this play out again. So
I did like the caveat though, Cody. If there was any doubt, Monday Night Raw is Cody's show. He stamped it yesterday. He came out and was just like, look, we ain't going home like this. Crowd pops and he enters himself into the main event. Before that, they're doing the promo backstage. He takes Byron out in front of the people, which I did love that. But
love it.
It sucks. You got Seth out here cutting promos about he's got a broken back. Spinal. Like Mike Tyson back
spinal.
In the day. Completely spinal, like Mike Tyson back in the day.
Spinal.
And Cody's like, I don't care. This is still my show. If Seth can't run the show when he has a broken back, he's never going to be the top guy. He's always going to be the macho man to somebody's Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
I don't respect that. I don't like it. But that was an awesome promo. He had Love Shinsuke's video package.
Love it.
Still don't think, of course, Shinsuke's going to have a shot. Y'all know that pay-per-view is next Saturday?
I did not know that until yesterday.
Like, yo, I'm not even ready for another WWE PLE. But here we are.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll watch. We'll definitely watch. So yeah, so I didn't care too much about the main event. You know what I did care about? It was the highest rated segment on the show.
Let me think about it. Was it Gunther and Gable?
Oh my goodness. Perfect little appetizer. They gave us enough where it satisfied us, but it was, you can tell they still got a lot left in the tank. And we're going to get that at Payback. Still don't think this is Gable's time, because by the time Payback comes, Gunther still won't hit Honky Tonk's title reign, right? His record. So yeah, so
it's 18 days, right? It's 18 days.
Yeah, see, and now you're talking, hell, 9 days, 8 days until the pay-per-view? Well, somewhere around there. We probably should do the math on that really quick, because that's going to change my thoughts on that match. But I thought the match was fantastic. What'd you guys think?
Yeah, I second that sentiment. How it was produced and how the count out happened, I thought was just so extremely clever. I even like how afterwards, when he was going back up the ramp, he being Gable, he's like, oh no, I'm bringing this back. I got you next time. I just thought all that was good. I see all that dissension within Imperium, which I'm sad to see, but I love it. I just don't want them to break up, because I think that I don't think the other two guys are going to be able to shine outside of being with Gunther, but we'll see how that plays out. But no, overall, I thought that was perfectly produced and booked, if that's the right words to use, on how you protected Gable and you were also able to keep Gunther with his title reign.
Man, I guess I like this show a lot more than you guys did, because Even this match you guys are saying is good, but it was a great match. It was awesome, man. They were there was a spot where they're on the outside, and Gunther gave Chad like one of those chops. I just said, "Oh my god!" Like it just sounded like a wow. Talk about meat on meat, man. Like he chopped the mess out of that boy, and then just the bump that Gunther took with that belly to back over the barricade to stay on the outside. Like I don't know if I've seen a spot like that, but when the way he took it, because that could have went wrong.
I thought he was gonna break his neck.
Real quick.
It could have went real wrong. It could have went real wrong.
Liv, how bad it could have went. Remember, she hurt herself when she put took Rhea over the top a few weeks back, and I think hurt her wrist or whatever it was.
And so that's a lot of risk and reward in those types of spots, because it could have went the other way, but since he was able to do it and land safely, it kind of brought it like a euphoric feeling for me. And I was like, wow, I feel like that was an amazing spot. I love that Chad got the win, right? Via count out, but it definitely counts as a win for Gable to continue his rise up the card as a serious not only title contender, but just an overall singles wrestler. I felt that was a really, really great match. I was really impressed by both of them. Sometimes when I look at Gunther, I'm like, damn, I wish he had put on a little bit of weight, because he looks.
Fat Walter. See, now you want Fat Walter back. I've been
no. I don't necessarily want. I'm not saying the man needs to be fat though. I just need maybe add a little more mass to him, maybe a little bit of muscle, because he looks a little thin, but he doesn't carry himself like a thin man, right? He carries himself like he's like one of the tallest giant of a men that there is. That was really, really great match.
I do remember, I was pissed when he lost that weight, and not from a health perspective. I'm just like, dude, you got this guy who looks dominant, like he works, fat Walter, right? And he loses all this weight and he becomes fit Gunther, and I'm like, this ain't hitting the same. Like, this guy is skinny, but he looks fantastic. He looks great. He's working from what they said on commentary, which I would have never thought it. That was Gunther's first loss since he won the IC belt.
Yep.
I think they said that.
There was been no other DQ finishes or countouts.
Nope, that's what they said.
Not. Cole said it. So, and I loved it. I saw some people complain on Twitter, and that's one of them where I'm like, man, I get it. We all got our own opinions, but I don't know how you complain about that. And the complaint was, now you're making Gunther's reign look soft because you're trying to get Chad Gable over. It's like, it was a count out. It's the perfect way to set up their pay-per-view match.
Man, us wrestling fans, man, we overanalyze and sometimes stupefy things to a degree. Man, look, I guess no one saw the Honky Tonk Man's reign, because his reign was soft as a Twinkie. You know what I'm saying? As soft as a Twinkie. I mean, he barely won. If he won half those matches, sometimes he got himself counted out. It was a lot of shenanigans with his title reign. Gunther looked very, very strong, and it's about the number. Is he champion or not? And I can't wait till we actually get to the preview show for that match next week, because it'd be interesting in what they do if they don't give him that streak. Which I kind of feel like I kind of don't want him to break Honky Tonk Man's streak.
That's the old nostalgia, and that's all that is.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Get Honky Tonk Man out of here. As much as I loved Honky Tonk Man back in the day. So his record was 454 days. So Gunther has to hold the belt until September 8th. So the Friday after the pay-per-view. So there you go. I do wonder, I put a tweet out, and I said, when Gable finally gets his title run, it's going to hit like crack in the 80s. Because I think that when it happens, when it happens, it's going to open up a ton of people. Like, I think he's got in him, he's not to the superstar level that LA Knight is, but he is somebody that we've been talking about for years, the three of us, as fans of his, when he was Shorty G, to when he was with Alpha Academy and NXT, and he started doing the Reddy Willen and Gable with the towel. It's like, man, he's got something. And then when they went in the ring, they went. And then he gets the WWE and he gets Vince McMahon's eyes, or however you want to say it. And he's, stupid gimmicks, but he's finally here now. And I think that I don't think he's going to beat Gunther, of course, next Saturday. But when he finally gets a title, because it has to be coming. Like, you don't put him in this position to just now put him to the side. I think, man, he is going to open up a lot of eyes for people who maybe aren't super familiar with what he can do. He checks every single box. The only box he doesn't check is he's short. He's not a tall guy. That's it.
Yeah. But we know that's been changing. That's just what the wrestler looked like, what the top wrestler looked like. You don't have to be super heavyweight anymore. If you are, great. And if you're able to get over, great. But it's not like a prerequisite like for you to be a star anymore, which is great.
Speaking of heavyweights, I got down on my knees and prayed for Drew to turn on Riddle last night.
Man, me too.
Didn't happen. I was hoping.
McRiddle.
Man, poor Drew.
Yeah. It looks like
you
he's
know
going
what?
through the motions.
Man, he got a tough time, especially if those reports are true about they ain't pushing him no more. But to me, when I thought about this angle storyline with Drew and I thought of Randy. I'm like, I feel like they're replacing Randy
I did
with Drew
too for a second. I hope that's
right,
not, man. Like,
and that means that Randy is far away from returning if they're kind of shoehorning somebody else into that role, because it definitely looks like that.
Mm-hmm.
What else? E, you said you were much higher on the show than we were, and the show wasn't bad. I just didn't have a lot. Like, it wasn't a ton that happened where I was like, man, we got to talk about this on the pod from my perspective. What else did you see that you felt pretty big about? Either way, good or bad.
Oh no, I think the show overall, like, so I don't necessarily think that every wrestling show that we're ever going to watch is going to be noteworthy. I think that as long as it's a good, straightforward, entertaining show that builds to something, right? And there's a couple of things build and progress. You know, we got, like I said, the Chad and Gunther. You know, the Judgment Day storyline is kind of going, right? Because right now that's the biggest storyline in WWE is almost the Judgment Day and the infighting, right? And it seems like it's continued, and they acknowledged it. But when I watched the show and I looked at how many scenes they were in the Judgment Day, right? How many matches they were in, and think about this time, what was it, over a year ago, where they were jobbing in rematches every single week. Like, wow, like they've really come a long way. And Rhea has to be the leader of this faction, right? Because she's calling the shot after shot.
She absolutely is the leader. And that's when I'm going to get excited when we get to that point. And I don't know if that's before JD McDonough gets into the group or, you know, after he gets into the group. But we got to get to a point where, hey, who's the leader here? And man, I laughed so hard when Cody made fun of big head ass JD McDonough. I was like, absolutely read social media for him to call that man a Funko Pop. I was like, yo, he does have a really big head though. When he stood next to Finn, it was like, what are those like those artists they draw? What is that called?
A caricature.
When they draw your face, what is it?
A caricature.
Caricature. He looks like a caricature of Finn Balor.
Ooh, that's so messed up. Talk about my boy JD.
But yeah, no, to your point about Judgment Day, yeah, I think I think they're doing a good job with making JD seem important from where he wasn't even on TV a month ago, and now like he's smack dab into one of the biggest storylines in the company, which is great to see. I wish they would do the same for Candice. I'm tired of her coming out and losing in 2 minutes.
Man,
I understand you can't push everybody, but she's one that should absolutely been protected more than she is. And yes, you can always fix somebody. We know with wrestling, just get somebody hot, but she seems like she has completely just been put to the side. Women's tag team championship match. It was cool, but I'm really big on to Caden and that team. I think they're the only real tag team in the division. You got to find somebody else to feed to the new champs.
You got the Witches. You got the Witches over on SmackDown. I haven't seen them in forever.
Yeah, have they actually?
Isla Dawn and Alba Fire.
Have they been on since
they lost the championships?
Yeah,
I haven't seen them.
Damn, I haven't either. I forgot about them.
I'm talking about
SmackDown.
talking about Candace, it made me think about the Tommaso um, video package he had. Did you check out how he mentioned in his lines, "Do it yourself"?
Yeah.
I was
DIY.
like, okay, yeah. I was like, okay,
I'm
I hear
laughing
you.
because you're like, Rhodesia was like, why is he looking for Gargano? I was like, because he's missing, Rhodesia. He's not on TV, and he should be. That's why he's looking for him. She's like, oh.
Hey, but we gotta be honest about Candace, though, man. Like, she seems like a nice gal. She's solid in the ring, but there's, when I think of Kevin Nash's old comment, vanilla midget, like she's kind of like
Ooh,
good old fashioned vanilla ice cream.
But
it tastes good.
She is, but, and I guess I keep going back to it. I've said it, so I'm not going to keep rehashing it about what she did on the Indies and how she was wrestling men and having incredible matches and all that.
So you're talking about 6 years ago?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I said I'm gonna stop talking about that. But we know, and again, everybody who's on TV can wrestle. We know that, so it's not just about the wrestling piece of it. I just thought they could do more.
You saw Ryback wrestle too, right?
Ryback rules. Like I was kind of big on Ryback.
I loved Ryback actually.
I was big on Ryback.
He couldn't wrestle
though.
Feed
me more.
I loved him too. He couldn't wrestle though.
But he didn't need to wrestle because he was an attraction almost at one point to me. He didn't have to.
Yeah.
Just
he had that one move, and you could see him pick up 2 or 3 dudes at one time. Like that was something.
Yep.
Hey, what do you guys think about the tag team champions? How do you feel about Chelsea and Piper, their dynamic as a team?
I think each time I see them, I'm starting to, this is like my second time seeing them. First time they actually had a title defense. But I can see how this can work. I don't want this to be like a permanent thing at all. But I can see this working because Piper is somebody that Chelsea's not going to be able to push over and play the Karen role to her. And Piper's going to bring it too. So she's not she's not going to be like the weakest link. Hell, she might be actually the one that even holds Chelsea up.
That's what it seems like, right? Like Piper is calling the shot. She's picking her up, carrying her. She forced herself
literally
into the title.
carrying her backstage.
Straight up. Force herself into the title picture. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's definitely an interesting dynamic. Have you seen some of their on Bump? What is this? The show, The Bump. They have some interviews, segments on there. And so it's definitely almost kind of like Piper's kind of like the bully.
I hope they have a plan. I hope it's just not like a weekly thing. I did see a quick video. It was hilarious. And they put it up today on social media where they're cleaning off the belts and they said they're cleaning off the curse of the women's title.
Yes.
That was pretty good. Shout out to them for that.
I got to watch that video.
But hopefully now the curse has been cleansed. What if, like, legit, if you believe in spooks and curses, what if the curse is never lifted until Sasha's back in WWE? It's actually Sasha and Naomi.
Then we
just continue to go through this, and then like eventually Triple H figures out like, I know what we got to do. I don't care what it takes. Y'all got to come back because everybody that we give these belts to get injured or they're not over anymore or something happens, and then all of a sudden everything is all good.
I guess we'll see Sasha Banks number 30 in the Royal Rumble.
You're still going with that? You just moving the years now, right?
Yeah, just moving the years.
That was your 20.
I'm actually clairvoyant,
prediction?
actually, yeah.
Now it's 2024.
Yep.
I got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of women, they have completely worn out their welcome. About a topic. They have completely worn out their welcome. We only got another week and a half of this.
I was about to say that. It's about to be done.
Man, oh man. Golly. I love me some Trish. It's just not working. It's not working. And nothing's working now, I think. Like, Trish came out, it was cool. She got some heat. But like I want to put the blame more on Becky than Trish just because I love Trish so much. But like, Becky comes across right now as playing wrestler and not being a wrestler. Like, she comes across as like, I'm acting through this until whatever's next. And I just don't understand why we're at that. Like I don't get it. I wonder what happened. This is not the same Becky from previous feuds. Take away in ring. I'm talking just promos, her intensity. It's just like, hopefully she's okay, like mentally. Hopefully everything's okay. I know she talked about she had some like severe postpartum, so hopefully all that is good just from a mental perspective. But yeah, it feels like she's just going through the motions out there. Like there's nothing to her.
See, I actually felt it at the WrestleMania time. It feels like, and this is about to sound so rude and disrespectful, like she's playing wrestling down to Trish, because we know what Becky is capable of going in the ring. It's almost like she has to dummy herself down to try to make the synergy work. And like you said, you have two great people. You could just never have chemistry. And we saw a glimpse of it at WrestleMania, but after that, it just doesn't hit ever. And like I said, individually, I don't think they're doing anything wrong per se. It's just not clicking any way it goes for me. And we get to see it again with her going against Zoe in a Falls Count Anywhere match. So it's going to be another, issue with Trish probably jumping Becky before their match.
Mm-hmm.
I did like the passion though in Trish's promo, talking about, am I scared? Yeah, I am scared. And how when she was thrown in the ring, what did she do? She killed it. And she talked about each thing that she did. I love how she story told in that promo. But again, I never had an issue with them individually. It's just like they just don't sync together.
Man, when Trish came out, I was like, wow, she's really an unlikable character. Like she's playing her heel role very, very well. But the crowd doesn't seem to care. Like, right? And I think
in her home country. That was the crazy part. Yeah.
And that's been kind of when I listened to Trish throughout these promos this over the past couple months. Like the crowd isn't with her on this heel character. So I wonder, is it more of like she's playing a character in a role that people just don't want from her? Is that part of it? And then also Becky I think her character is just flat. Like when she comes around, I think she comes, I just said it. She has this saying, the man's come around to whatever, right? She has her little catchphrase. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it comes off flat to me every time she does it. And like she's trying to hit these like little catchphrases and these little quirky lines in her promos, and nothing really connects for me. So I think it's a combination of Becky is flat as a character. I think that Trish is portraying a role, even though I think she's doing a good job with the role, because she comes off very unlikable as her role, as she should. She's a heel, but I don't know if people really want that from her. So I think overall, like they don't have chemistry together in the ring, on the mic, in the ring, and they're both portraying characters that are flat right now. So I think it's just a poor dynamic.
And I thought about what you said earlier, just right there about maybe it's because Trish is a heel, but when she came back for Mania season, when she was a face, when she came back with Lita, the crowd wasn't really behind her. And I was like, damn, do they maybe not know who she is?
Now that could
I don't know, maybe
possible.
they just kind of just don't really care. I don't know, but this isn't working. So I'm really, really happy we get the blow off next weekend. And I think they are going to be much better now in two separate feuds. I think that's going to show us a lot. I can't wait.
So you think Trish is going to continue?
She better. I mean, okay. She's still got something left. I hope she didn't just come back just to work Becky and do a cage match. I mean, I want her to get. I mean, it doesn't have to get to the level of what they gave Edge on SmackDown, but it needs to be something to where she gets her proper final send off. But it's going to tell us a lot on the next feuds for both of them. If we are still sitting here saying that something is not right, something's flat, we may have some bigger issues.
And it's a shame. If you think about the Raw's women division, it's all Raw flat outside of Rhea. Rhea is the shining star of the division. Like she's just a star on the show. Like you think about like the most over acts, you got Cody is right up there, Seth, but Rhea's right up there with them. Mm-hmm. But you think about the rest of the women, they ain't got it.
Well, if you transition over to SmackDown, Bianca is still hot. I would say I would put Charlotte in there. I would put Io in there. I would put Bayley in there. So they have some. They're just on separate shows. It kind of just goes back to their presentation, is that they have to be presented in a better light. We did get Raquel back. She's healthy, so now we get that match at Payback. You guys giving Raquel any shot?
Probably not.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I don't think so either. But I like Raquel. There's something there.
Yeah.
I
I've always
just want
said
them
it
to
was.
put a little bit more juice behind her. Put a little something else more. You guys may have something more on Raw, but I did think about yesterday or Monday was the 2-year anniversary of Becky returning to SummerSlam. And that was the night where she comes back, huge ovation. We were at the show, and then 22 seconds later, 25 seconds later, whatever it was, the crowd is pissed off because she just beat Becky, or she beat Bianca with like a slap and a rock bottom. That was, to me, one of those, like, be careful what you wish for, because you might get it. Like, hey, we got Becky back.
Everybody wanted Becky back.
Yep, and then she takes the belt from Bianca, and now Bianca's on this year-long redemption story, which worked out for Bianca. But can you guys think of something in wrestling where it was like, be careful what you wish for, you just might get it, where you thought you wanted it, you finally got it, and then when you got it, you're like, this isn't what I thought it would be.
Y'all come up with some clever questions to ask. Only because my brain is not of an elephant and like Matt's when it comes to wrestling. I can only go off of what is like front of mind, and it would be Wardlow. So I wanted him back after he got his haircut. Wanted him back. He comes back, wins the TNT Championship again, drops it immediately, and then partners with Glock Anderson, as you call him, for a hot. He was his mouthpiece for a couple weeks, and then again, where is Waldo? Where is Wardlow?
That's a good one, because it's not his fault, but that's a good one.
Yeah.
Where is Wardlow?
Don't know. He's probably with Gargano.
That's crazy.
Can you think of one?
No, what did you have?
Mine was Raw going to 3 hours.
That's a good one.
Like Nitro. Remember, Raw was an hour, Nitro was an hour, then Nitro went 2 hours, then Raw went 2 hours, and then they went 3 hours. And at the time, you're thinking like, oh man, this is like a pay-per-view every week. Yeah, but it's not. And we've been sitting here ever since watching 3 hours on a Monday night. I would love for Raw to be 2 hours. It would never happen because they make so much money for it. But the quality of the show, man, it would be at least 30% better consistently. 3 hours is
Absolutely.
a lot.
Absolutely.
It's just a lot.
I never wanted a 3 hour Monday Night Raw. I actually don't think I wanted a 3 hour Nitro, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, it's a lot of wrestling.
It's rough, man. Yep.
It's a lot of wrestling.
It is a rough situation.
You know, it's funny. Right before you go away from that, I was thinking about Eric Bischoff, and I listened to a lot of his podcasts, and I actually have his book. I gotta read this darn book, man. But he points to a lot of different things that kind of led to the demise of WCW. He says that third hour of Nitro was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
That may have been, but I think the biggest thing that he doesn't really tackle is his lack of leadership and creative in WCW. All those things, another hour, another 2 hour show. If you were better creatively, if you just was a better overall leader, your company would have been in business, man. I guess those things are in play when you run a loose ship and you have bad leadership. Like little things like that can throw you off. But he never speaks to how inept he was at running an actual wrestling show, being a leader, and over his overall creative. I mean, it's just fascinating.
I wonder if it's because he's looking at just straight facts. Like a lot of times when he talks really analytical. Like he's a numbers person. So I think what he's looking at
Bischoff?
Bischoff.
He's always talking about like analytics. That's why he like shits on AEW so much, because he talks about how like you've lost 40% of your audience, since day one, and the metrics are showing this and the metrics are showing that. That's kind of really where he gets a lot of his stuff from. He does a lot in TV, so that would make sense.
Okay.
But I think maybe with him, what he's looking at is probably metrics of when we started Thunder, another 2-hour show. That's when the bottom fell out. So he may not even gotten to the point that you're on of like, but yeah, you need to own some of that too, because your leadership skills was lacking. You were allowing some of the NWO members to kind of do what they wanted to do, but he's probably thinking like, well, they were doing that in the first place. And we were selling out arenas and selling out the Georgia Dome for money and Nitros. It was when they started, brought in Russo and went Thunder 2 hours and got really, really thin from a creative perspective. And, it went to hell in a handbasket. That's probably what he's looking at. But yeah, I mean, typically too much TV can be a killer if you can't maximize that time. WWE's done I guess you could say, an incredible job of that, right? Because even though we don't enjoy the 3 hours a lot of times, and it's like a slog to get through, Raw's still around kicking. They're about to get another huge rights fee, I'm sure, for the content. So it worked out for them. But yeah, that's mine. If I could get anything, give me 2 hours. I've always said, for me, a perfectly timed wrestling show is probably like 2:15, 2:30. You give me right between those two, I'm good. You leave me one more, you gave me enough, I'm good.
2 hours. Just give me 2 hours. Hey, you know what? We got to put this on the docket because Eric Bischoff seems to really dislike Tony. He might say he doesn't, but he really goes at Tony Khan very hard. But if you look at WCW and AEW, they've made similar mistakes. So I wonder, is Eric more mad at Tony because he feels like he's seeing some of the same mistakes that he made? And he sees like history repeating itself in a lot of ways.
I think he's mad at Tony because Tony takes a lot of WCW elements and he brings up WCW. Well, he used to. He kind of doesn't anymore. But he'll bring up WCW. And I think Bischoff looks at it like, dude, you are nothing like what we did. We beat WWE 83 weeks. We did this, we did that. You've yet to do anything. I think that's probably where some of the disdain has come from. And I do think it probably eats at him at the core a little bit of like the Punk situation. Of like, dude, how have you not rectified this? I think some of that from him being in that leadership position, him working for WWE for years and years and years after that, and seeing what a tight ship is backstage. And then now he's looking at, AEW that has an opportunity to, which they are now. They are, I think, submitted. They're going to get their next deal. They're about to pack 85,000 people into Wembley Stadium. Tony talked about
AEW's fine. Yep.
Yeah, Tony talked about today on the conference call that he did, talking about All In, that he kind of put out there again about he would love to have a streaming deal with Max. So I still think that was the plan initially, because there's no way the plan initially was to do 2 actual legit pay-per-views
back to back like
a week from each other. I just can't believe that was the original plan. I still think that All In was supposed to be on Max, and then something happened where maybe they figured out the bandwidth isn't there for it, or whatever the case may be. Who knows? And now they got to go traditional pay-per-view on both shows. But I think that's probably where it comes from, to be honest.
Be interesting.
What else y'all got for Raw?
Well, I got a question for you guys, because I'm a big basketball head, as Matt is as well. And one of my favorite basketball players, Steph Curry. Most recently, it was on Gilbert Arenas' show.
Boy.
Gilbert Arenas asked Steph Curry, "Are you the greatest point guard of all time?" And Steph looked down and said, "Yeah, I think I am." And kind of had the internet going crazy a little bit, like people don't really give Steph his props as a point guard because they think he's a shooter, and they think of it, the points, things of that nature. He's not a conventional point, but a lot of these positions aren't conventional anymore. So it actually reminded me of a conversation people started having a couple months ago around their top 5 NBA teams of all time. They can take any NBA player from their era in their prime. Who would their top 5 be? For me, it was Steph Curry, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Shaq and Tim Duncan. So if I can actually create a super team in wrestling of all-time wrestlers in their peak, I got a rundown for you guys to try to keep it similar to basketball. If you had to pick your top face of all time, top heel of all time, women's wrestler of all time, tag team, and then you gotta. I think about the X Division, right? But the X Division in TNA, I thought was kind of an interesting idea because it wasn't about weight limits; it was no limits. So they had like a Samoa Joe in the X Division, and this dude's like 300-something pounds, wrestling, because it wasn't really about weight limit. It was about style. So I thought about, hey, let's have an X Factor position, right? It's a multi-purpose, wherever you think you might need for that top 5 to go against somebody else's top 5. So, Matt, let me start with you, man. Let's start with the good guys. The good guys got to go first, man. So who would be your top face of all time?
So are we doing... We're not trying to put like a legit team together. This is kind of like our Mount Rushmore, would you say?
Either way.
Okay.
Either way.
For face, I mean, I got to go with my guy. I got to go Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, okay.
You know that. Yeah, I got to go Austin.
I'm going to roll with John Cena.
Nice. So I'm going with Stone Cold as well. I think is he the highest drawing face of all time? I know merchandise, he was up there.
Yes. Well, he was. I mean, who knows now with... And that's the thing about like inflation too. Like WWE is killing all these
right now, yeah.
And I love it. I'm glad they are doing that. But can we really compare like Cody's merch sales or Roman's merch sales to, you know what I'm saying, like The Rock or Austin back in the day? Back in the day, those shirts was $20.
Yep. Now they're $40.
I bought a SummerSlam Detroit shirt. What was it? $35, $40?
Yep. It was $40.
It's double. It's double the price now. But yeah, I mean, that's a good one.
I find that one interesting though, because it's more of kind of like our timeline of watching. Because y'all were watching Austin in his prime. Mm-hmm. I didn't really quite see Austin in his prime. I kind of saw him at the end, kind of when he was already kind of going against Vince all the time, but not kind of the whole trajectory going up the hill. So, and in mine, of course, is John Cena, that I've seen him when he first debuted all the way to the end of his career, or 20 years later.
I think the way we look at Roman right now in this character of the Tribal Chief, this storyline, how I can unequivocally say this is the best storyline I'm ever going to see as a wrestling fan in my lifetime. I can say the same about Austin's run as a face. And it was short. But if you think LA Knight's pops are something, or Cody's pops or something, or KO and Sammy's in Canada's pops or something, or Punk's pop in Chicago or something, times that by 2.
That's awesome.
I would never forget being in the crowd for some of his interests, and you couldn't hear you talk to the person next to you.
You said when you came on again.
And I've been to concerts. I mean, of course, you guys know we've been to numerous WrestleManias, other wrestling shows, other sporting events. That's never happened. You can always hear the person next to you.
The Scream tour that we went to like in 2003, you telling me?
Yeah, well, that don't count either. Yeah, what was that? Bow Wow, B2K.
B2K,
yeah, them 15-year-old, 16-year-old girls just screaming at the top of their lungs for no reason.
I had hearing damage that day.
I was like, enough, girls, enough.
And Stone Cold is another interesting one because kind of like Steph Curry, because Gilbert Arenas was saying that Magic Johnson, of course, was on the list, but when you think about Steph Curry, he's really revolutionized that position from to a standpoint, because like now you see a lot of teams and point guards are playing a similar style game of his, and Stone Cold did that from a face. I don't know if we've ever had a face like Stone Cold up until that point. He was so unique and different, almost in a time capsule. Like I've never seen a face, because we think about before Stone Cold, you had Hulk Hogan, you had that type of face to get like a Stone Cold who was almost like a heel in a lot of ways. Like if you take his antics and think that he was doing stunning the women and old ladies and everything else, like he was kind of a heel, right? But he got these huge pops, so I don't think we'll ever see anything like that again.
And this may sound like blasphemy. And there's a direct correlation to it. I do think the person who could be the closest to that is LA Knight. I think LA Knight has a incredible crossover appeal to him just because of his
mic skills.
I think he can run that on commercials.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
He is an Austin ripoff.
That's why I said there's parallels.
Oh, hell yeah.
And we heard on Raw. I think his pop was bigger than Sammy's or KO's when his music hit.
Oh yeah, that's what I wrote down that note. I'm like, he has a huge pop.
Yeah. And that's also, remember, we were talking months ago about you being over or your song being over. And I had particularly brought up Seth.
Right.
I said, just because people sing his song doesn't mean that he's as over as his song is. His song could just be over more than he is. That's not the case with LA Knight. Nobody's singing.
His song is the best part of his act, to be honest with you, Seth.
So you gonna talk about a handicapped man like that now? This man just told you he's got a broken back, spinal. And you gonna throw him on the dirt.
Hey, we still talking about Mike Tyson, 50 years later.
We are.
It is what it is.
So you said heel is next, right? You're the biggest
who's your top
favorite heel?
So you got to put a team together.
Okay, got it.
Who's your heel?
Am I going first, or are we throwing to somebody else?
Go ahead. Can we keep rolling?
As much as I don't want to, as much as I got to do it because we are talking about wrestling characters. So to hell with the man. I got to go Hollywood Hogan. We just sat here and talked about Austin's rise. Flip the channel. NWO, led by Hollywood Hogan. I mean, we ain't even got to talk about it. Revolutionized wrestling.
You know what? I love you, Matt. So we have actually the same answer. I picked Hogan, but not for those reasons.
Oh.
You said Hulk Hogan. You said Terry Bollea.
Terry Bollea. No, for real. Then I was like, well, no, okay, so I can't pick Hogan. I was like, well, maybe Kane. I was like, no, I can't pick Kane either. So
Then
I forgot my man from the Funkadelics, whatever they call Funkadactyls, whatever they call.
He's still doing it big over there in NWA.
So then he's gonna be my other one, but then
no, what's his name?
I don't know.
Something Clay.
Tyrus.
But it was Brodus Clay. Brodus Clay.
Oh, Brodus Clay. Brodus Clay.
Yeah. But then I'm like, let me be for real. And I got to say this just because I have never been angry at a wrestling act ever. So it's going to have to be MJF because when he spilled that drink on that kid, I'm like, no, you crossed the line at that point. So it'd be MJF for me.
Nice. That's crazy, though, that he's already hit your top heel. And he's only been in the business that we've seen him on TV for 4 years.
Because he crossed the line, though. That's why.
Oh yeah, he's probably the first wrestler I felt like I'll try to beat his ass. I try. I don't know if I win. He's pretty cut, and I'm
trying to beat MJF's ass.
Yeah,
you want to
I would try.
Brock's ass.
No. Hey, I thought better about that. I was feeling myself a little bit too much. I think I don't know what was going on. Like Brock, I'm sorry. I don't want no smoke from you. No smoke. I went heel. My favorite wrestler of all times, Shawn Michaels, HBK.
That's a good one.
I'm plucking him from the 97, 98, his early DX run. I thought that I love that version of Shawn Michaels. He was such an asshole.
Yeah.
Such an asshole. But he was so great in the ring, too, at the same time. And I got to say something. I thought he just looked cool. I love HBK's gear. I love the pants with the matching gloves. He just looked like a cool character, but he was such an asshole in a different way than MJF was.
And like back then too, he was also the cocky. There was a difference from him being cocky and cool than like what Flair did. Like Flair was the suit guy, the limousine guy, but Shawn was like, oh no, I really want to be like Shine. Like, look how cool Shine looks.
Yeah.
You know, so I get it.
He was like that high school bully. Like, like the stereotypical high school bully, like the good looking high school jock football quarterback guy that was like
and then always had somebody behind him to do his dirty work for him. So on the football team or
portrayed his girl like, but the Hollywood Hogan was a really good one too, because as a heel, boy, man, he had a lot of steam behind him. Rhodesia, I don't think you were watching wrestling back then, right? But man, he had some nasty ass. He went from I don't think we ever seen somebody go from being beloved to being hated like Hogan did during that run. Because it wasn't like we're talking about Trish, how I think she's in a position that people don't want to see her in. Like Hogan really flipped people into really hating him and not caring anything about his old 80s run as the beloved babyface. Legit.
Hey, this wasn't just, oh, you're a heel, so we'll go along with the... No, this was like every week, trash being thrown in the ring. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was real.
And it's interesting, right before we go to like the next one, is that you talk about Stone Cold and Hulk Hogan. Their peak, I don't know if you want to say for Hogan, his peak run was as NWO champion. I'm not sure. He would probably have to tell us where he made more money, but he still was in his prime as a heel champion. You had Stone Cold doing his thing at the same time, same day on a different channel, and we never got those two to touch. Like, right? Like, man, that's one of the all-time like greatest matches that we've never gotten that I wish we would.
Well, in a future episode, I already got it written down. I want to talk like top 3 WrestleMania matches we never got. Spoiler alert, that's one of mine.
Boom.
Yep, that's one of mine. Tag team next, right?
Yep.
I am going to assume we all have the same tag team.
You gotta have the same.
We gotta
if not, disconnect from this call right now.
Yep. He's rocking the shirt right now. It's the Usos for me.
Usos.
But hey, so let's say I knew we were gonna have the Usos, right?
Take them out.
Actually, I was running late. I took like a big daddy nap before the show, and I threw this shirt on. So it's actually, you saw how much I love these guys. This is the first shirt I pulled up. But if you take the Usos out, who will be your next one? Just interested. Wow, New Day for you. Mm-hmm. Some more recency for you. What about you, Matt?
But New Day been in the team for about
really,
7 or 8 years.
Really, really hard because I want to. Like I feel like this run cemented the Usos' legacy. They should be number 1 on everybody's list after this run. I think even like old tag teams would say that. So when you pull them off, now it becomes really subjective.
Yeah.
Right? Like everybody that I've used so far, I have facts that I could say like, hey, this is why Austin was the biggest face and Hogan was the worst heel, best heel, however you want to say it. Man, like I got a couple of them clumped. I know you're no longer like really hype on them, but man, the Bucks has to be in that conversation. And I think a lot of what the Bucks is, they just haven't done anything to their character. Like they're the same team that they've been for years. They got to figure, they just got to tweak their presentation and they got to evolve. Every team, every wrestler has evolved some sort of way. I don't think they have, to be completely honest. That's why I think some of us are a little down on them. But like, how can we not say Bucks and FTR? Like, if we were doing this show after All In, I guarantee we'd be like, oh man, it's either FTR or the Bucks, because we know they're going to kill in Wembley. Mm-hmm. I would put FTR in there.
I would too.
But then this is so hard for me because you got to go Legion of Doom, War Warriors. You got to go like Heart Foundation.
But what was the Heart Foundation tag team?
The Dudleys, Edge and Christian, the Hardys. I mean, there's just so many to me that's like clumped right there. I don't have an answer for you. Just give me, if I had to pick, I can't go Usos. Rhodesia went New Day. Give me Give me the Bucks.
So I thought about my own answer when I was asking you guys. So I was a big Midnight Express guy back in the day. I loved the Midnight Express. I thought their music was cool back in the day. Because it's a take, Rhodesia, their music, FTR's music that they currently have is a take off of Midnight Express's music back in the day. Even like some of like their gear, when it's like the rainbow behind like the FTR. That's how the Midnight Express. That was their simple, their logo. They had this midnight. They had this rainbow. I have no idea what a rainbow had to do with midnight. Never got that, but I thought it looked cool though. They were up there with me, and then Jim Cornette as their manager was a heat magnet. But I might go with the Hardy Boys as much because I think that I think when you think about the Young Bucks, I think in a lot of ways they might have been like a second coming of the Hardy Boys. Mm-hmm. But I think overall, from a real well-rounded like tag team, because Jeff was a daredevil, he can do a lot of different things. But from a psychology standpoint, like Matt was right there. I think I would take the Hardy Boys in their prime over the Bucks.
I can see that. The only thing I would give the Bucks over, and I say only thing, like, yes, the Hardys are legendary, but the Bucks are revolutionary. Like what they did with the Bullet Club, and yeah, all their gimmick was taken from other gimmicks before them, but we really hadn't seen that in wrestling, where you were a blatant ripoff, but you made it your own, and like you were entertaining with it, and then hell, you go on and create your own company. That's a really good one though. It shouldn't have been that hard. That's probably like if any other ones, if you'd have told me, hey, take somebody else off, I probably would come up really quick with a second one. That one was a hard one.
Hey, that's why I love tag team wrestling. That's why early AEW, I really love the company because they had so many great tag teams. It's just interesting. Like, and back in the day, like I want to say probably in the 80s and 90s, man, it was just a renaissance of like just tag teams. You named a lot of them: Devilition, Road Warriors, Midnight Express, the Rockers, man, Arn and Telly. They had, oh man, even you like the Killer Bees. Like I'm no radio, know nothing about the Killer Bees. Oh man, the Rougeau brothers, man, they had so many great tag teams. But you can pick any of these guys with the great runs, and you can put them right there.
But you name all those people there though. Were they actually all really good though?
Oh yeah.
Nah, some of them just like nostalgic. That's all.
That's what I'm saying. Like I can't imagine 8 of those tag teams that you just mentioned.
Man,
all
the
hot.
The Hart Foundation, the British Bulldogs, the Midnight Express, Arn and Tully. Come on now.
Killer Bees weren't great. Killer Bees were like match number 1 on Coliseum video tape. I was thinking while you were talking, E, I got something for you. You said you couldn't think about the be careful what you wish for, and you just might get it. I know what yours is.
What's that?
Keith Lee in AEW.
Oh, shucks.
You got it.
That's a good one.
Now you kind of like return the sender. You're trying to get a refund. Yeah. That's crazy. All right, women. And this one, thinking about it, I have 2 distinct different answers.
Me too.
And we may have the same.
We
probably have the same.
Oh, no,
one is working right now. Another one is a legend.
Yes.
I'm sure we have the same. And
I doubt it.
When you say my top 5, I'll just go with the first person I thought of, and that's Chyna.
Yeah.
Because she broke the mold when it came to muscular women being acceptable.
Yep.
Like that alone, you got it. You know what I'm saying? So,
and she was wrestling men.
That too,
and she was part of Latino.
The other person I have on my list is by far better than her in the ring.
Oh, no doubt. But, I think who you're about to say will at the end of all time, at the end when all the humans are done on this, all the time when the humans are done.
Nobody gives a damn who her daddy is. You are no longer that person's daughter.
Yep.
You are now, yeah.
There we go.
Ahead.
No, that's it. So China was mine. Well, I was thinking between China and Flair, but I did land on Flair.
I told you we would have the same. I figured as much.
Yeah, so I had so China's a good one. I actually didn't think about her actually. But she definitely had a great 2-year run. Especially, you can if you look at China physically from when she started, she definitely changed a lot physically over the years. But she had got to one point, and that was when she was kind of with Eddie Guerrero.
When she got with Eddie, she was fine.
She was fine.
I mean, I always enjoyed me some China, but
I love that.
She was fine. She that's so we know. Rhodesia talked earlier about women in plastic surgery, and our girl Little Kim at some point too. Like they get to a point to where they change enough. They get to a point to where like oh you got it right. That's
Stop
a
there.
perfect look.
Stop there.
Stop there.
Stop there.
But they usually don't right. They want to. Yeah, they don't see it, right?
Yeah, if they have some self-image issues, and I'm not saying, just because you get plastic surgery, you have self-image issues. If you have the money to get it and there's something you don't like, absolutely do it. We go to the gym because we want to change things besides our health about it. All right, you're just going to get cut on. I get that. But typically, there could be some deep-rooted issues there. So we look at somebody like, man, you look fantastic. Stop there.
Fantastic.
And they're just like, nope, I need to do this now. I need to do this now. And then
I hear it's addicting.
At some point.
I would know. I don't have the funds for that, but I heard
it's
addicting.
Yeah, as you guys said, like I feel like we're always our biggest critics, right? Because I always look in the mirror like, oh man, this is horrible, right? I don't sometimes want to turn the light on and look at myself sometimes. It's just funny, right? But
oh man,
just imagine.
Do I have any type of sad music on here that I can play for you? Yeah, like we're here for you, man. You remember that.
But I know I'm all right. I have my own opinion, right? But back in the day, before I had Big Daddy's wife, I did okay with the women. So I was like, maybe it's just me. But however,
ashamed because you keep trying to get that dumbass name
over.
That's probably why you're ashamed. Yeah, just cut all.
I've already told you. Listen, like I was talking to some great friends of mine. We all concluded this is a great, life choice that I'm going ahead and officially getting the name legally changed to Big Daddy.
Let me tell you something. They're not your friends. They're making fun of you.
Yeah.
Behind your back. If you had a conversation.
They're laughing at you.
No. You guys and Mr. Mom on Twitter and Eric, you guys are the not good friends. But going with it, we're trying to she got to a point she was just beautiful. Like her look was fantastic. She was over with the crowd. She was wrestling men. She definitely somebody I should have considered. But at first, one of my favorite women wrestlers right now is Bianca Belair. I love her. But I'm like, maybe it's Sasha though. Cause Sasha had a great run, but that was it, just a great run. But ultimately, as you guys said, I want to settle in on Charlotte because I think, as you said, she's going to go down to be probably the greatest women's wrestler of all time. It's just that for the past couple of years, I feel like she is just so flat for me as a fan. Like I guess there's nothing really else for her to do, and I've seen her do it with all the women that's in that division. There's nothing else for her to. Yeah, like for her, I guess the next step would be to wrestle men in some kind of degree, but I don't know if that's believable because she's still she's very fit, right? But I don't think she would be believable being in a ring with like a Sheamus or a Gunther or anything like that, right? She had to pick her spots, but I don't feel like there's just nothing left for her in the division. She's still a very young woman.
It's hard when you've been at the top for a long time. It's like, okay, now what? You know what I mean? Like. It's hard. It's hard. Yeah. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying this conversation. I was just kind of thinking about it, like our conversation. I'm like, damn, if there's somebody who is only watching wrestling now and didn't watch wrestling in the past, we lost them a long, long time ago. So hopefully, you are still with us. If not, we catch you on the next podcast. We're doing one all in right after. So log in on that one. You said the last one is all purpose, so kind of like the X Factor. I'm taking this as there's no way I cannot put this person on the list right now because of what they are going to be. And it's who Rhodesia has as her biggest heel, and that's MJF.
I thought you were about to say who I have over here on my list. I was like, how are you seeing my screen? Sorry.
I can see it in your eyes.
I like that. Mine, again, there's a recency thing. I'm going with Seth Rollins. Anything you give him, he's going to attack it. You can plug him anywhere with the heavyweights, with cruiserweights, and he's going to always perform.
I'm surprised you guys didn't say this one, but Do you smell what The Rock
Oh, I thought about
is
it.
cooking?
I thought about it. I did,
One
man.
of the most popular wrestlers of all time. So if I need to slot him as a heel, he's going to be a despicable, nasty, arrogant heel. If I need a face, he's going to get the crowd behind him and they're going to cheer him. And he's going to give you a great match at the same time. He has the it factor. He's the guy that I can slot anywhere on my top 5 and it'll work. The Rock. The great one.
That's a good one.
Time.
Yep. Only thing he can't do is be a woman. But yep. He had the Rock and Sock connection as a tag team. Same thing with Seth. I mean, Seth was a huge face, huge heel. He was in the tag team with the Shield. Same thing with MJF. Hopefully, he's a big face now. He put up this awesome. I'm still like trepidatious, right? But I'm like, all right. The more and more, this got to be real. He put up this really cool tweet earlier. I'm not going to read it, but it was basically they did a town hall with Busted Open a couple days ago. I guess it's going to be on. I think they're going to play it tomorrow. But it was him talking, and this lady wrote him a letter. I guess she met his son there, and I guess he was cool to the son. But so I will just read this one part. He said, I guess the little kid's name is Omar. And the mom said, P.S. after she kind of said how, you just being there for my son, small act of kindness, you genuinely care. My son was just so happy that, there's good people in the world. Good luck in Wembley. And she put, P.S. never feel like the people hate you. You are this generation of someone who was paving the way to the squared circle and did it the right way. And there's nothing to take lightly. And then MJF responded and said, Omar, I've shut my fans out entirely out of fear of being vulnerable. I'm not scared anymore. Sunday is more about the money, the championships, the accolades, and even the Triple B. Then he said, okay, maybe not the Triple B, but you get my point. This is about showing kids of the next generation anything is possible if you bust your ass to obtain a dream. Yours sincerely, 5'0" ADD Riddle Jew Boy. And then he put the picture of him and the little boy there, which I think is fantastic. I keep thinking like, all right, is the other shoe going to drop? Like, is this somehow still... But yeah. I kind of think we're past that. Even down to the promo of, I'm your scumbag, right? Yep. Like, so but
I'm your scumbag. Yep.
Yeah. So even that, I think face MJF is here right now. And I guess that's a hell of a segue to.
I was just gonna say that to our All In.
All In. Let's start with that match. I'll be honest.
Well, which part? Which match? Which match of MJF?
Well, I damn sure ain't talking about tag team matches. I'm joking. We can talk about that too. We were going to kind of talk each match, but today Tony said that there's gonna be some changes to the card.
Wonderful. The great thing is that we're gonna have our live post show afterwards, so we'll be able to dedicate pretty much a whole episode to All In.
We are. We haven't done a live post show since Royal Rumble. Mm-hmm. It's been damn near 9 months or whatever it is. So yeah, we will be live on the socials. We got to figure that out again. So right afterwards, of course, check us out, and then we will drop it as a traditional podcast later on Sunday night. But Tony said, I'm going to try to work through this week to make it as strong as possible and hopefully make the All In card better than it had been. There will be changes to the card. I plan to add something, and I might have to make some changes in the body of the card. And the rumor is there's some work visa issues. So I guess Phoenix can't travel. So that's scrapped. And I guess maybe there may be something else too. So it looks like he's legit adding to the show and taking something off. Which, hey, there's a little show called All Out the week later.
Yeah, anybody who can't make it to Wembley, right? We know he can
come
make
on
it
to Chicago, baby. We'll see you guys there. So I don't know what matches are going to be scrapped and was not. He did talk up the title match, so we know that's staying. And he did talk up the tag team title match, so it's not FTR and the Bucks. That's staying.
Okay.
So let's just talk about the main event. Who do you guys? This is big, right? I didn't expect this summer to be as enjoyable, and as engaging when it came to Adam Cole and MJF. They had the match on Dynamite, which was a strong 30-minute time limit draw. And we're like, okay, this is probably what they're going to do at one of the pay-per-views. And it took off like a rocket after that. Who do y'all have winning? And do you have the friendship ending at All In?
See, it's such a wild card here because we have All Out for the Fallout. Oh, that rhyme. I should be a rapper.
Look at that. You should be a rapper.
Yeah. So I didn't think that Adam Cole would have been as over as he was, even though I told you that I was starting to fall in love with his character about a month and a half ago. I don't know if I can really see him holding the title right now where he would have a successful reign where people are engaged and bought in. But again, I still see the reactions that he gets when he does the down and come up Adam Cole baby thing. So just based off of what I feel, I don't think Adam Cole is winning the title. I think it's going to stay on MJF because I really can't see Adam Cole being the champion right now.
You still have them as friends?
Can I say at the end of All Out, they're not going to be friends?
Well, we'll talk All Out next week.
Okay, so let's just say yes, they're still
that will be
friends.
next week, right? Or
that
no?
will be next. It'll be next.
No,
yeah,
next week is Payback. Next week is Payback.
With
week after is...
All Out.
Oh shit! Right.
Yeah, Payback and All Out is the same weekend.
All right. Okay.
Yep. So I'm gonna say MJF retain. Friendship will come. What is it? Sunday night. Sunday night. They'll still be friends. MJF will win.
Got it.
We still got the contract stipulation. Are we thinking that might come into play at some point?
If you take at face value, MJF is a face now. Yeah, Adam Cole never read the contract. But I asked you guys last week, is there anything MJF can do to get booed? And both of y'all told me no. So wouldn't that fall flat? And this is Wembley. They're in the main event of their biggest show in history. I don't think you can do anything like that where Cole beats him and he's like, you didn't read the contract, I'm still champion. That would leave, I think, a nasty taste.
It sure would.
Nasty taste.
Yeah,
nasty
like
taste.
you can't really touch that. I'm gonna just say that wasn't the thing, and it's a title match.
Hey, I just thought about something maybe a day ago. Who drew up that contract? Do we know that was MJF?
I don't think they ever said.
They didn't.
Right?
I mean, it's assumed though that it was MJF who drew up the contract or his attorney.
Assumed, right? Did MJF read the contract?
Who knows?
Right? And you know, Adam Cole, he signed it pretty quickly, right?
Right. So he probably knew exactly what was in it.
What if you got, we haven't seen Sterling in a while, the evil AEW lawyer. What if he's in cahoots with Cole and he has something in that contract, and that's the way to kind of get Cole to turn heel, because he said he's going to do whatever it takes to get that title, right? Because as you said, if that contract comes into play, I hope that AEW creative is smart enough to understand that they can't do a MJF screw thing with this, because I think it'll fall flat, not only from as a heel, but as a face. I don't think people will boo like they should, right? I also don't think that it'll work out. But what if Cole is the guy, right? His obsession with being the champion, and by any means necessary, he created his whole plan, got Sterling involved, and he drew up some kind of contingency with this contract that kind of plays out on this show. Maybe that's kind of one way to get out of it and get heel as a heel and MJF as a face.
Man, there are so many things at play that we haven't even touched, and we don't have time to touch it because we just don't even know. And that's why I think that they have an opportunity to do something really special. The pre-show match is evidently happening. There's no way that that's not connected to the main event.
Something popping on that one.
Where does Roddy fit into this? Roddy is now a comedy character.
Yep.
Right? So like we went from before thinking like, oh, Roddy's going to cause a strife in between them, to now it's like, okay, Is he? I mean, like, you would think so because they're spending a lot of time with Roddy, but like he kicks the tire and now he's putting ice on his foot. That's a comedy thing. That's not a real thing. He's still sitting around with this collar on, so
He might not be medically
play.
clear to go to London.
He's got to come into play somewhere in this. And then, Rhodesia, to your point, we got All Out a week later. I just hope that whatever they have planned is worthy of the next step. If this is the exclamation point of the period of MJF and Adam Cole, which to me that's hard to believe, seeing that we do have All Out a week later, I hope it lives up to it because everything has been fantastic. I'm
because I say that too right before you get started. Because like, you think about Roddy has to be heel, right? He seems like an asshole. The Kingdom, they are heels. Like, why are they injecting? Maybe it's just like a diversion, but you could see Adam Cole being the ringleader of all these guys, bringing them together.
So then, okay, I hate to use the word deserve because this is scripted entertainment, but who deserves to win that match? Will we all agree MJF deserves to win the biggest main event in history of AEW over Adam Cole?
Yes.
But he deserves the biggest moment, right? Maybe the biggest moment by see him drawing the biggest sympathy from the AEW crowd.
Possibly, for sure. Oh yeah, absolutely.
They got a pay-per-view a week later, right? What a way to kind of kickstart that and some interest to follow up from one pay-per-view to the next.
So if you had to say, and I don't think did you get who you think's winning?
Mm-mm.
I'm gonna go with Cole.
I'm gonna go MJF just to be different because I think it's a toss up.
Yeah.
How about this then? Are we all in agreement that All Out, it's them two again somehow, some way, even if it's not a one-on-one match? But does something happen that is still a good enough ending for All In, your biggest show in history, but then you do something a week later to continue the feud or the story?
Well, yeah, as of right now, as a constructed, because if you look at them on paper, they should win the ROH Tag Team Championships, right? So they're going to still be connected somehow.
This is so interesting, man. Like,
but you get what I'm saying, right? Like,
yeah.
But I mean, they probably should win.
This is really, really interesting. Really interesting. In a good way. In a good way. As much as I hate that match, but in a good way. What about the tag team title match? How about this? I don't even care who wins.
We win. We're winning. The fans win.
Do they eclipse the Briscoes and FTR from last year?
I'm saying yes because I have a special place for Young Bucks in my heart, maybe over the Briscoes, just because, again, I didn't know too much about the Briscoes until just recently. But yeah, I'm going to go yes.
It's definitely going to be a barn burner for sure. I don't know if it's going to be better, but I'm hoping that FTR brings something out of the Bucks that we haven't seen in a while. Because I don't want to say that they've lost that fire, but I will kind of say it seems like they're kind of going through the motions a little bit. And I don't think they're doing it intentionally. Like I said, they're really nice guys. They're probably making the most money they've ever made. They're in great positions of power. They're very, very comfortable. Like, maybe FTR could bring something out of it in the ring that we haven't seen in quite some time. It's definitely going to be a great match. I don't know if it's going to be as good as the Briscoes, because for me, a lot of it is that I hadn't seen very much of the Briscoes. I always wanted to see more of them. And so I hadn't, so seeing them in the ring was new to me. Like, I hadn't seen a lot of what they can do, just in snippets. I've seen a lot of the Bucks. I know exactly what they can do. We've seen this match between them a couple of times, so the newness is going to be there. It's what can they do in the ring to kind of freshen it up? What can they do to kind of make it stand out and make it great? I'm sure they're going to figure it out because Dax is very great at putting these matches together, and the Bucks, fire or not, they're great at what they do.
I think if anybody cares, the bleeding stopped on my finger.
Good.
It's in pain now, though.
No.
I think if we walk away from this I think it's easily going to be a top 5 match of the year. I want to say top 3, but I don't want to be full of hyperbole right now. If FTR did, and this is not a knock on Juice and Jay White, if they did what they did with them, if they did what they did with Cole and MJF, we should have lofty expectations with what they can do with the Bucks at the biggest show in AEW's history, in front of 80,000+ people, and this is number 3. They all know what this moment means. So this should be the match of the night for me. I can't wait. I mean, the top 2 matches are enough to sell this show.
I agree.
You know, but it's because of not really Cole and MJF has been fantastic, but even like the Bucks and FTR, if we weren't familiar with everything that they've done over the last few years, there's really been not much on TV with them over the last couple weeks. We do get a contract signing or something on Dynamite tonight. But other than that, it's kind of like, all right, well, but I guess they probably know, like, well, you know about what everything has been involved in this. So number 3, I think this would be the best match by far out of the 2. And I think this will be better than the Briscoe match. And I love the Briscoe match. Both of them from last year.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I got another prediction. Like, I'm writing the story. I think that for the pre-match, the tag team with ROH, what if the Kingdom and Neck Brace come down there and they cost them neck brace. What if they come down there and they cost them the championships, right? And it seems like they're against Adam. Like, maybe
but they're really not. They're in cahoots.
They're in cahoots, and then they come back.
I like it.
In the main event, cost MJF the championship. Bada boom, bada bing. They've been in cahoots the whole time.
I like it.
Nice
I still think that there was no way that match then could have been on Dynamite. This tag match. You don't need to have it on the same show, but I like that. Book it, Tony. Were there anything else on the card? I don't have the card in front of me.
Yeah, Tony, so we can go through this quickly. We have the women's match, the 4-way between Saraya, Sheeta, Tony, and Dr. Britt Baker. I think Sheeta's keeping it. I love what Tony has been doing, and if she does win it, I'm not going to be surprised. But I still think Sheeta's going to retain that one. Just quickly, what do y'all 2 think?
Well, really, what's this show about? Is this show about, you know what I mean? Like, is this show about giving moments to people who quote unquote deserve it? That's why I asked about the whole thing of MJF. Does he deserve winning that main event? Because if that's the case, I would go Britt and say Britt has held before this year. She's held that women's division down on her back. Give her that moment in front of 80,000+. If it's about a moment, do you give this moment to Saraya because that's her hometown? And it's like, hey, I know we haven't done much with you, but this could be the reason why you came back. Type moment that you'll never forget. This is your WrestleMania moment. I don't think Tony gets it. She doesn't need it. Keep going with this. Keep going with this character that you're going with. And then I guess too, are her and Saraya in this match just for them to have a falling out? I don't know, but give me Britt just because I want to be different than you. You said Sheeta.
Yep.
Man, Matt was so GD serious. Like, what's this about?
I mean, because when you look at it, you can say like, all right, are we talking? Because once again, All Out throws all this out the window.
For sure.
This show could be all about
exactly.
Moment. And we've had WrestleManias before where it was about moments. And then they figured out storylines afterwards and Backlash or whatever, and they fixed whatever they needed to, but they gave us the fan service moment. They can do the same thing for All In and then just figure everything out for All Out. They could do that, but I don't know. I
got to keep it around. I'm continuing to be honest with you guys and say I'm so uninvested in this match. I don't care who wins it. I want all of Rose to point to Willow winning the championship somehow. Like, I'm just not into. I like what they're doing with Tony's character, but it seems like that's a champion character now. I don't know if the character is where it should be just yet. Like I feel like that story doesn't need to be told with the championship. I'm not into Sheeta wasn't really hasn't been made that important. I would say in the past 6 months or so prior to her winning championship. It kind of came out of nowhere. I kind of feel like I haven't seen Soraya on TV very much, but she hasn't really been the star of her own group. It doesn't matter to me. Who wins it?
All right. So the next match we have, and I'm not going to touch on all of these because again, like you said, Tony said he might blow up the whole middle body of the card. But the coffin match, I'm actually really interested to see that between Sting, Darby, and Swerve and AR Fox. I think
you can't have Sting lose.
You can't. You can't.
And you can't have Darby lose. Darby has a title match the week later.
Yep.
AR can be stuffed in the casket. Yeah. He doesn't lose anything.
That's what he's there for.
Yep.
Yeah, he's
I can't wait for that one.
Ooh, did you see Swerve was talking his talk?
Yeah.
No.
In an interview, he basically talked about WWE. This is the biggest mistake they ever made was firing him, and he went in. I enjoyed it.
Good.
Yeah, he said that he's salty about. He was really salty about the whole thing. You know, he had some things about Triple H. He felt like he was never really given the big chance to be Triple H. He had to come to him multiple times and say, "Hey, what can I do to be one of your guys?" And Triple H was like, "Oh, hey, what do you mean? I am." Like, no. I know the difference with who's one of your guys. I want to be one of your guys. What I need to do. So I don't feel like he felt he's ever given the opportunity. Then they fired him, and he's come over to AEW, big bad mad. Let's go, Swerve. But he's gonna lose again. And I need Swerve to get some wins, man. Like I don't know what needs to be done. I like Christianish. Well, he's not a champion, right? Luchasaurus is a champion.
No, Christian is a champion.
I want to see some gold around Swerve's waist sooner than later.
This is what he said real quick. This is when he was just talking about WWE. He said WWE's business is higher than it's ever been, and congrats to them. Wembley is going to make them have to make changes. They're not sitting as comfortable in there anymore. If AEW can make the people who run WWE treat my friends and talent better and get them better opportunities, that's a win for pro wrestling, and that's all we need. Sounds like he knows a little something about what's going on backstage, maybe with some of the folks that he knows.
Yep. It's just the locker room at WWE just doesn't come out what's happening. Just doesn't come out. It doesn't mean that things isn't happening. And the last one I'm gonna talk about, because I don't say I don't care about the other ones, but the other one that I'm actually invested in is for the Real World Championship with CM Punk and Samoa Joe. Who y'all taking on that one? And it's for the Real World Championship.
Punk, because I don't think, because Joe's not winning the Real World Championship, but I'm going to have to assume him and Starks aren't done, so maybe they run it back at All Out a week later. But yeah, give me Punk.
Okay. And then go ahead, Ishan.
Same.
Yeah, I thought you was going to say that. And same here for me too. And plus, not only the Ricky Starks storyline, we also got to eventually get him in MJF too. So I just can see CM Punk holding that title a lot longer. And Samoa Joe doesn't need it.
So overall, excitement level for this pay-per-view, 1 to 10, where you guys at?
I'm at a 7.
I'm at probably a 2.
Jesus.
Because that's only my favorite number. If we didn't have to do this show and we weren't doing a live pod right after, I wouldn't even buy this thing, to be honest with you. Like, we don't even know what the card is.
I get it.
The only match that is, I would say, is must see, and it's kind of weird, is the championship match, MJF and Adam Cole. Every other match on the card, outside of the tag team, actually, FTR Young Bucks. Most of them you can kind of, it's paint by numbers. You can kind of figure out who's going to win. Like CM Punk and Samoa Joe, Punk's winning that. The coffin match, Sting's winning that. None of these matches seem big time. Now, the actual event itself, being one of the highest grossing and, all the ticket sales in Wembley, that's a big deal. But the actual show itself, and that's disappointing. You would think that, Tony Khan and the team planned this thing out months ago to where this would be a huge card that almost like a WrestleMania, where you kind of know the matches and they're building towards these big hot matches, and a lot of these things are coming together within a couple of weeks outside of the main story, right? Like even the FTR and Young Bucks matches was kind of put together pretty recently.
I am excited for the Kenny, the trios match. I am excited for that against Takeshita. I am excited for that, but also to shoot them some bail. They have had injuries. Brian was supposed to be in there with Kenny. That's a major match. Pac was supposed to be in the match. He got injured. He's out of there. And there was one other injury too that they had, like a pretty significant one. So if you add Brian against Kenny, I don't know who Pac would have wrestled. I can just spitball and say, hey, let's go Pac and Ospreay. Oh my God, that would have been incredible. So now you're talking. All right, so now we're cooking. I'm actually probably a little bit more excited than you guys are, and that's just through this conversation. Those top two matches, being able to see AEW perform in front of that many people, and just the intrigue of it all. So yeah, we may know like who's winning, half of the matches before, but I am beyond intrigued with Cole and MJF. Even if it was just a one match pay-per-view, and we've seen some of those in the past with WWE, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So I'm probably at about like 8.5. Hopefully, I'm hoping they get me to a 10 with Dynamite tonight and then Collision on Saturday.
What I can definitely see here is that looking at the card itself, there's nothing wrong with this card, minus Jericho and Ospreay. But there's nothing really wrong with this card here. I actually really like the card. I think I'm at a 7 now, but at the end, when we're doing our live show, I think I'm going to be like jumping up and down about how great this show was.
It's gonna be a great show. That's without a doubt. They deliver. It's just a lot of times the hype and the storylines leading up to it, we're kind of like we desire a little bit more.
We get as much hype on this big show that they want to spend $50 on as we do any Dynamite, right? Winners come in or any other show. Most of these matches with the kind of build that he's given us, we've seen on Dynamite. Some type of, even that trios match, we've seen a lot of these things on Dynamite. We're seeing we got a better trios match on Collision a couple weeks ago than we were getting, in my opinion. And then fast forward, because then Big Daddy will be in attendance tonight for Dynamite. So hopefully,
that's right. You're going to Dynamite. Represent.
Yeah,
in Atlanta, right?
Hotlanta. Your boy and Brandon. Your boy and our buddy Brandon. We'll be doing some live tweeting during the show to kind of let you guys know what's popping out there. So hopefully they make hopefully that show will make me go from a 2 to a 10. It's happened, all right? I'm a super emotional guy. I get in my feelings very, very easily. They're going to sway me in 2 hours to gladly show them out $50. And you know what? And so much so, I'm going to be willing to do it again the next week. Here, take some more money from me. Like take it.
They are back in the back. Hey, and Brandon, do me a favor and make sure you text me throughout the show. You know you're going with an AEW hater. Don't let E get in your ear about, this sucks and that sucks and this is horrible and that's horrible. Anyway. Yeah, make sure, man, like you don't let that negativity get into your bubble. It's all about the positivity.
Goodbye.
Hey, I got my WWE pillar coming with me to the show.
Oh man! All right, that's a wrap, guys. So let's break this down. Dynamite, SmackDown, Collision, All In, Raw, Dynamite, SmackDown, Payback, All Out.
Collision and All Out.
Collision, right? A lot of wrestling.
Yeah.
But hey, I would never complain about having too much wrestling. I'd rather have too much than not enough. That's for sure. So E will be in the building tonight for Dynamite. Have a fantastic time, sir. We will be in the building for the entire week that's coming up for AEW in Chicago. So we'll have some live in-person thoughts for you guys on what the next, 3 podcasts. So it should be good. Don't forget, All Out, or All In, live post-show. We will be on a few minutes after the show on Sunday here in the States. I'm going to assume that's probably about 4 p.m., 5 p.m. our time. The show should be over, so we'll be locked and loaded right there. Check our socials for details on that. Once again, if you can't make it with us live, we will have this dropped as a podcast on Sunday. Y'all got anything else for the good folks at home before we get out here?
Hey, you might get a Big Daddy signing on Dynamite, so tune in. No, I think we got some cheap seats. I don't know where we're gonna be at, man. And I'm gonna be with my WWE pillow, maybe taking a nap during that boring show.
See y'all later.